Ma'am, why does my child throw a tantrum, embarrass me in front of people? And at that time, how can I manage my anger so that I also don't shout and scream and get upset? I'm Riri Trivedi. I'm a parenting coach, a regression therapist, and a trainer. And today I'm going to talk about the second guideline for positive parenting, which is engage but do not enrage. So many parents struggle with their young kids misbehaving. And usually the common misbehaviors are the child is screaming, shouting, throwing something, rolling on the floor, howling away. And sometimes they do it in public. And then parents get so embarrassed with this behavior that they also instantly react. They react by either shouting at the child, dragging the child away, or sometimes even giving a slap or beating the child. And later on, regretting it. We must understand, first of all, that when we are looking at misbehaviors of young children, why do young children misbehave? Usually there is an emotion that they are unable to express because younger children, small children don't have yet the part of their brain fully developed, the brain that is responsible for them understanding the emotions, naming those emotions, or even articulating what they are feeling. They don't even have the adequate vocabulary to explain what they are experiencing or what is going on. And because of this lack of vocabulary and because of their brain not yet being fully developed like an adult brain, kids struggle with a lot of difficult emotions like anger, sadness, fear, frustration, anxiety, and they don't know what it means. And hence, the only easiest way they know how to express is by going and hitting their sister or brother, by throwing something, by crying, by not eating the food and not listening to you, or even hitting the parents or calling them names. So first of all, we must understand that children do this because they don't have the vocabulary or the words or the understanding of what is going on. So usually behind a misbehavior, there is always a difficult emotion or a situation that the child is not able to deal with. Secondly, we must also understand that the part of the brain that is responsible for impulse control, responsible for the child to understand that today if I do this, what are the consequences I will face? Or even the part of the brain responsible for the child to know that if I do this, this will happen. Or if I do this, how will the other person feel? That part of the brain is not fully developed. So as 30-year-olds, what is very obvious to us, very normal to us, or which is so clear to us, may not be that obvious and natural and clear to a young brain that still does not have those centers fully developed. Remember, the part of the brain, the prefrontal cortex, is responsible for functions like thought, meaning, logic, executive functions, labeling the feelings and emotions, decision making, empathy, sympathy, planning, impulse control. This part of the brain is not fully developed and continues to develop till the child is 25 to 28 years old. So we must understand that first, the children are not deliberately making your lives miserable. They are not deliberately trying to make you unhappy, or they are not deliberately doing these misbehaviors to invoke anger in you or to trigger you, but they are doing it simply because most of the times they don't have any other way of expressing this. Dr. Daniel Siegel, in his very nice book called No Drama Parenting, and also another book is called The Whole Brain Child, he explains these two parts of the brain. He calls it the upper brain and the lower brain. When a child is typically triggered, so when a child is angry, screaming, crying, howling, throwing a tantrum, being stubborn, the child is operating from the lower brain. The lower brain is that part of the brain which is responsible for impulsive behavior, for the fight, flight and freeze response, for the basic bodily functions, and for very, very basic, simple feelings which are survival-based feelings like anger or fear, insecurity, etc. So whenever a child is triggered or misbehaving, you must remember that the child is operating from the lower brain, which is a seat of impulsive, reactive, survival-based emotions. In such a situation, if you get triggered and you also operate from your lower brain, which is impulsive, reactive, filled with your basic emotions, then you are two people at war. But if you recognize that in such a situation, your child is operating from the lower brain and you need to now operate from your upper brain and teach the child to also engage the upper brain, then what can you do? The first thing is recognize that when your child is operating from the lower brain, you cannot do that. You should take a few deep breaths, pause stay calm and engage your upper brain. By engaging your upper brain, I mean to say that use your logic, your rationale, your empathy, sympathy and understanding of the situation to control your emotions and reactions. Now, the second step is help your child engage the upper brain. How do you engage the upper brain of a child? First is ask them to label their emotions. So you can tell them what they are feeling, you label their emotion, and that way teach them how to label their emotion. So if a child is insisting on the third chocolate and you don't want to give, you can stay calm and say, I see that you're angry. I know that you want that third chocolate so badly, and I know that you're angry, but you still can't have that chocolate. So by telling the child that you are angry, you are teaching the child to recognize the different emotions. Or I see that you are very sad because your friend didn't invite you for his birthday party. How does that feel? Where do you feel that pain in your body or that sadness? So when you do this, the child is learning to label and name his or her emotions, and this engages the upper brain. Remember, the upper brain is the part of the brain responsible for impulse control, for rational thinking, for naming the feelings, for being empathetic and understanding other people's feelings also. So this is the first thing. The second thing is ask open-ended questions. So when you ask your child, so tell me more, what happened? Can you tell me from the beginning what went on and tell me the story of what happened today or before you felt angry or before you felt sad? When children are narrating a story, again, they are engaging the upper brain. So instantly, when the upper brain is engaged, the force, the power or the emotional charge of the lower brain automatically subsides. So asking your child to tell a story about the incident, it may be one. Small children, you can even tell them to repeat the story 2 or 3 times, and every time they repeat it, the emotional charge will reduce. So telling them to narrate the story of what happened is also a great strategy. The third strategy is, of course, like I said, asking open-ended questions like, so what happened? Who was with you? How did you feel? Okay, what else was going on? How did that person feel? What do you think you felt and what do you think I'm feeling about this? Or, why do you think I'm not allowing you to have the chocolate? And why do you feel you are getting so angry? So the moment you ask open-ended questions, which is why, what, who, how, when, the child is again trying to recollect or trying to think, which engages the upper brain. In such a situation, it is also important to make it clear to your child that you are angry or you are feeling anger, you are feeling sad, you are feeling upset, you are feeling jealous, versus saying you are an angry kid, you're always sad. You keep getting angry all the time. You always throw a tantrum. So it is important to let the child know that whether it is anger, sadness, fear, these are all emotions that the child can experience at any given point of time. But the child himself is not angry and afraid. So it is important for the child to recognize that I have an identity beyond being angry, fearful, sad. These are all different range of emotions that I will experience throughout my lifetime, and it is okay to experience these emotions and understand them and manage them. So make sure that you explain this to the child. The last thing, of course, is also teaching some self-regulation techniques to your child and doing it yourself. So whenever the child is triggered and upset, you do some slow rhythmic breathing, abdominal breathing or chest breathing, or do some humming. And the best way is be next to the child instead of facing the child. So instead of confronting the child amne samne in front, it's better to sit next to the child. Do some deep breathing. When you are doing that, the child is going to pick up your energy of calmness, and automatically that will also reduce the emotional charge, and that will also engage the child's upper brain. Besides this, you can also teach the child that whenever you are angry, remember that you can do 5 rounds of humming, or you can tap out the anger, or you can blow it into black balloons like and see all the anger being released into the balloons. So depending on the age of the child, you can actually teach them creative ways to help them release the emotional charge of these tantrums and different kinds of emotions. I hope this helps. Remember that your children are instinctively programmed at birth or tuned to operate from their lower brains, which is impulsive, reactive, survival based. And along with your behavior, by observing you and your reactions to them, they will learn how to engage their upper brain, which is the seat of logical, rational thinking and empathy, sympathy and impulse control. So children will learn it slowly. No child is born with the ability to control their impulses and control their reactivity. But in most situations, when a child is reactive and impulsive, the parent also responds with an impulsive and a reactive mode, then the child never learns how to engage the upper brain. So as parents, first you try to do practices to engage your upper brain, and then do that with your child. And this will definitely help your child reduce the intensity and frequency of tantrums, and you will feel more confident and positive in handling the child's tantrums in a better way. Remember, no child misbehaves to take revenge on the parent or to really hurt you and harm you or get you angry. Most of the children misbehave because they really don't know any other way to communicate or to share what they are feeling. So please look at your children with that perspective, and I hope that this video helps you to manage your children's tantrums better. Remember, it is always important to engage and not enrage your child. If you really like this video, do mention in the comment section on how do you engage your child's upper brain. Do you have any more ideas like these? And do subscribe to my channel, because I share a lot of videos on positive parenting on my channel, Pathways to Positive Parenting. And if you know of parents who need such guidances, then please share this video with them. I make all content in English as well as Hindi languages so that maximum parents can benefit from it. I would look forward to your comments, to your replies, and to your sharing in the comment section.